Hey, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, guys. A big update. We are no longer doing Wake Up American for the moment, but instead we're shifting back to a very old show that we used to have called the Schwa Mill. So the Schwa Mill is basically an opportunity for people to send in audio files, and then we give them some pronunciation suggestions. So today we're going to be doing just that. And if you're interested in trying to send in your own audio, or for instance, even ask a question, we have a group on Telegram that you can join. It is free. You can find it in the video description. So we're going to be taking a look at a couple audio files from you guys, and then again, giving you some American English accent advice, things that can help you sound even more natural when you speak. And to guide you in that process, there is me. Hey there. So my name is Jeff. It rhymes with breath. That is one of the four keys to a natural sound in American English, including placement, pitch, breath, trying to weaken your consonant sounds in order to strengthen your vowel sounds. Today, I want to try to go through two files and then try to talk about what's happening in the files and what are, again, some ways that they could sound more natural. Allow me to put on my headset and also to share my audio so that way we don't run into issues trying to get the audio through. All right. So let us take a look at our first file here. And again, I don't know exactly what files that people have sent in, so we're going to find out things together. Oh, there is a couple people with us. Ganshim's hanging out with us. What's up, Ganshim? And also Che Matia. Ciao, 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 ciao. All right, so let us take a look at the first file for today. This was the very first file from a person who joined our Telegram group. This is from David. Let's take a listen to this one here.
Doing anything at this point with these circumstances is really a penance. Know what I mean?
Okay, let's listen to that again.
Doing anything at this point with these circumstances is really a penance. Know what I mean?
Okay, so let's talk about this. I'm imagining myself like if you imagine you were telling me this just like randomly on the street. Okay, so like I had no prep, I had no, I may or may not know you, and you're just kind of telling me this. How would I respond? And I think one of the things here is that it's very fluid. Things are really running together nicely. There's lots of breath, but at times it's almost too fluid. So we want to try to see if we can add some comprehensibility a bit. And we're probably going to need to do that through some more elements of contrast. So let's listen to this again. Maybe just the first part.
Doing anything at this point with these circumstances.
Okay. I think for me, things start getting a little bit slurry right around when we get to the word point. I'll try to get to that again.
Is really a penance. Know what I mean? Doing anything at this point with
And one of the reasons for that is I think you can hear the placement kind of going high on that oi sound. So the oi is a diphthong in American English. And one of the things we talk about in American English is that when we do diphthongs like this oi sound, instead of doing a very clear transition from one sound to the next, like oi and things like that, American English instead tries to compress diphthongs into a single sound. So it sounds a little bit more like oi, oi. So we also want to try to keep that placement down because most likely in the language that you speak, the diphthong, the placement's going to be a little bit higher. Okay, so instead of doing like an oi, it's going to be a little more like oi, oi. So trying to do just this progression like oi, poi, point, oi, poi, point, oi, poi, point. I think could be really helpful with that for trying to keep the placement down. In addition to that, there are always some letters that we want to be mindful of, and I think one of them is the letter N because in a lot of languages that placement for the letter N goes pretty high, like whereas in American English that N sound the placement is a lot lower, so we're like It's like oin, oin. We don't do oin. It's more oin, oin. Okay, so we want to kind of watch out for that. Allow me to play that file once more.
these circumstances is really a penance. Know what I mean? Doing anything at this point with these circumstances.
At this point versus at this point. Doing anything at this point. Doing anything at this point. The other thing too that I think is really characteristic of American English is that you see a lot of shifting even at the syllable level. So like point, point. Do you see how it kind of wavers down? It's like at this point, at this point. So like doing anything at this point, doing anything at this point. And I think that adding a little waver there a little bit more is going to be helpful also for creating some more contrast with the part that comes after it. From that moment.
Circumstances is really opinions. Know what I mean? Doing anything at this point with this circumstances is
And so next you have this phrase with this circumstances. So what's happening is like doing anything at this point, and then your next thought group is with this or these should be these, right? So with these circumstances, um, or is it with this circumstances? I forget the exact. So let's use with this circumstance. You have two thought groups. Okay. Make sure that when you change thought groups, you have enough of a shift going on between them. Okay, so I would maybe say for that second thought group, trying to shift things a little bit lower because right now we're kind of bobbing at about the same pitch level. Let me play the audio again, and I'll try to demonstrate an alternative.
really opinions. Know what I mean? Doing anything at this point with this circumstances.
It's like doing anything at this point with this circumstances. That's kind of what we get. Versus doing anything at this point with this circumstance is. Do you see how now we have greater contrast? So instead of kind of keeping all the thought groups at about the same pitch level, I think it's going to be pretty helpful if you take that second thought group and one element of contrast you can do is pitch and lowering it, or potentially going higher. Like doing anything at this point with this circumstance is, or doing anything at this point with this circumstances, whatever path you decide, just make sure that when you change the thought group, you change the pitch level there. Um, I have one other file that I want to take a look at today, but I do want to thank David for sending that. Much appreciated. I think it's going to help with the clarity a lot. There's a quick little file here I want to take a look at. This one is from Pablo. So let's take a listen to this.
And it's fascinating to watch that too.
Okay, I already have some ideas on things I want to say here.
And it's fascinating to watch that too.
Okay, so I don't think this one has as much of the clarity issue, but one thing that I think I'm hearing a bit is I'm getting something that I call bobbing, which basically occurs when you say a sentence and you have a lot of stresses while maintaining the same pitch level. So it's almost like talking like this for a long time, where you kind of just feel like you're just constantly bouncing a little bit. See if you can catch that movement here.
Also note, and it's fascinating to watch that too. And it's fascinating to watch that too. And it's fascinating to watch that too.
It's like because you're basically hit with this.
Also note,
you're hit with this, and it's fascinating to watch that too. And it's fascinating to watch that too, which is a lot of stresses in a very short amount of time. So there's a couple different ways you can handle this. The first thing is you could just take out some of your stresses. So instead of having three-ish stresses, you could just have one. Maybe just stress fascinating. And it's fascinating to watch the two. And it's fascinating to watch this too. Or another strategy is that with your thought groups, make sure you have, again, more contrast. It could be contrast, for instance, through pitch. Again, change the thought group, change the pitch. And it's fascinating to watch this too. It's fascinating to watch this too. Do you see that now I'm really increasing the pitch ranges versus here we're kind of just bobbing between the same pitch range the entire time.
And it's fascinating to watch that too.
It's fascinating to watch. It's like fascinating and watch are almost at the same pitch level versus if you do, it's fascinating to watch. Now watch is at a noticeably lower pitch level. So that's another alternative you could do there. There's some other elements of contrast you could add as well. For instance, like speed.
And it's fascinating to watch that too.
Because one thing you can hear here is that the syllables are all the same length. And it's fascinating to watch that too. Versus, and it's fascinating to watch that too. You know, or and it's fascinating to watch that too. You know, or even adding a pause. And it's fascinating to watch that too. It's like just trying to show some alternatives where if you want to maintain three stresses, these are some ways that you could also consider playing with to make it feel a little bit, increase the variation, make it feel a little bit more natural than just bobbing between the same pitch all the time. Okay. All right. So thank you to Pablo for sending that. Hopefully all that feedback makes sense. All right. I'm going to pause this there. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. So the goal right now is to try to have the Schwa Mill streams on Mondays. I have to check the schedule again. Mondays, Fridays, and there's one other day thrown in. Let me see. Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays right around this time. That is the current goal. If that changes, we'll keep you guys posted. But that's our current plan. So we will see you on Monday with another edition of Schwa Mill. If you want to send in a pronunciation file to get some feedback, again, take a look at the video description where we have that link. I hope you guys all have a good day, have a good night, good afternoon, and of course, a good weekend as well. Thank you for your time. I'll see you later.